It's the Clips and Mavs tonight. Luka Doncic, who he was a little up and down at points DFS-wise during the regular season, we know, but here in the playoffs, you look at what he did in Game 5. He accounted for at least a role anyway in 84% of Dallas's buckets. Incredibly impressive, either scoring or assisting on each basket. Said after the game he could have played better. Higher expectations for himself even. Dallas a 3-point underdog for Game 6 here at home. Do you think Luka delivers and does play better, Jules, to end this series?
I mean, I think Luka's going to play well, yeah, because he's a good player and, the lights are going to be bright. But I am putting my money behind the gutless Clippers in this game because this is just how they seem to do business. They need their backs against the wall to perform and to get the best out of them. And I think they're going to win on the road again in this spot, the 6th straight road win in this series. If they can get this game, it's been pretty ridiculous, but this is just who the Clippers are. They need to lose dumb games to bounce back and win good games. And it eventually caught up to them in that Nuggets series, obviously, last season with the blowing the embarrassing 3-1 lead. But I think they'll learn from that. I thought they would be stronger, obviously, in this series, but the Clippers are 18-9 off a loss this season. They're winning those games by an average of 7.3 points per game. They've shown they have no problem not only winning, but dominating in Dallas. This is a spot, like I said, backs against the wall. I'm going to take Luka's talented, but the Clippers are the more talented team, and that's what I'm going to back.
Well, Kenny, Clips are running out of time for wake-up calls here, obviously. Backs against the wall, as Julian noted, and facing elimination here. But what do you think? Is Luka going to be that much better than he was in Game 5 to try and put them away?
I think that this is going to resemble this Blazers series where you might get a heroic effort from Luka Doncic, but what's the rest of the team doing to really get the Mavericks across the finish line here? I have to back the Clippers in this game. They've just been the better team over the last few games. And frankly, there's been absolutely nothing wrong with the way the Clippers have played this entire series, especially on offense. They've been scoring the basketball at an efficient rate. The thing that happened in the first 3 games was the Dallas Mavericks were shooting the lights out from 3, pushing over 50% from 3, which is ridiculously unsustainable. And what we've seen in the last 2 games is the fact that, yes, it is unsustainable. They've shot just about 30% from 3. The shooters have really cooled down here. I mean, yeah, if you want to be like a goalie in a penalty shootout and just try to guess which way it's going to go, maybe they're due for a good shooting night, but I don't think that the numbers, especially all season long, the Mavericks have not shot the 3 well. I think that everything here would tell you that the Mavericks are not going to have a good go of it once again from 3. The Clippers defense should be strong as ever. And I like the Clippers here to roll and send us to a Game 7. They've just been, again, the more complete team here. You want to exploit this Dallas defense because that is the one thing we can be sure that is bad.
It's not a big total for this one, Kenny. You got 216.5 on the DK Sportsbook. You're going to go over or under?
I'm going to take the under here because I think that the Clippers are going to slow this pace down. I think the Clippers are going to try to control this game from the jump. And like I said, the Dallas offense has really, really struggled. I mean, we remember that the Game 1, when Porzingis was pulling up from the logo and everyone was hitting threes. Maxi Kleber was going off. That's just not the same Mavericks team that we've seen. And again, it's just due to the fact that not that many shots can fall statistically, given how good these shooters are. And also, the Clippers defense is really, really good. Now, the Clippers offense, I mentioned it had been strong, but I don't know if they're necessarily going to have to put their foot on the throat of the Mavericks in this one. I think they're going to control pretty much throughout. And I really do think that we could get a suffocating defensive performance once again from Ty Lue's guys. And we could see the Dallas Mavericks only score 85 or 90 points, and that would definitely push us to this under. So I like taking the under.
If you guys follow Jules on Twitter, you know this is a man who likes overs and unders, totals, money line, props, everything. The man he's constantly giving you picks. So over or under 216.5 here?
Yeah, I like betting on sports, Kaufman. That's essentially what you just summed up.
It is. It's true.
While I will be putting my money on the Clippers tonight, I will not be putting my money on this total. I think it's pretty appropriately set. It's not. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, but it is a lower total. But I'm with Kenny if you force me to take a side. I think it's a big game. It's a game where the Clippers don't have much margin for error. They have to wake up. They have to defend, specifically the 3-point line, the way that Dallas has knocked it down in their wins. They have to double Luka. Maybe they learned, like Kenny's comparison with Lillard, Denver took so long in that game where he had 55 to double him, and they didn't let him score the last 3 minutes of the game in a 58-minute game. But if the Clippers kind of learn something early and double Doncic, I think that takes some points off the board. So, yeah, slower possessions, better shots for the Clippers, more methodical play, probably holds this one under.
Okay, so since we know you like to bet on sports, let's see if you want to bet on this one. Forget about Paul George for a second. Kawhi Leonard, 42.5 is the line for his total points, rebounds, and assists. How do you feel about it?
I feel like it should be a Kawhi game for sure. It just always makes it more difficult when you have these, two superstars who are both capable of dominating the ball. So I lean towards Leonard having a big game here. I lean towards Paul George playing well here. So again, this is something I guess I would lean over with, because I think scoring wise, Kawhi should have a very good game, but not something that I see. I would rather just take the money that I would throw on that prop and just add it to my Clippers play.
Kenny?
I'm probably with Julian here, but I think I'm also going to take the under. Kawhi's coming off a bad offensive game. The Clippers had a bad offensive game in general, and his scoring output has really just kind of decreased in the last 2 games. And that is by nature of the Clippers not having to do as much on the offensive end. You look at this team, first 3 games of the series, I mentioned that the Mavericks weren't missing any shots. You had the Clippers pushing the pace. You had Kawhi Leonard going to the rack almost every possession, trying to score the basketball. The needs for this Clippers team have just changed with Dallas cooling down on offense. So I do think that this should comfortably go under here. I think that Kawhi should be a decent play here in DFS and a decent guy in real life, but I'm not sure he gets the stats needed to hit this over.
Guys, I know we're still wrapping up round 1 in many series, but obviously we do have some round 2 series that are already set. And in the Eastern Conference, Kenny, you have Milwaukee and Brooklyn. Now, neither team had any trouble with its first round matchups. Going into the series on the DK Sportsbook, you have the Nets favored at minus 200 odds. Do you think Brooklyn takes care of business here?
Boy, if you're just talking from a strict betting perspective, I mean, I don't understand why you would ever lay the money with the both favorites here in the East, frankly, especially with the Brooklyn Nets. Look, I know that the Brooklyn Nets, they looked better on defense against the Boston Celtics, but I really think we have to curb our expectations here. This is a team that didn't play defense all season long. Sure, they're trying a little bit on that end, but what does Boston have on offense? That's no offense to the future general manager of the Celtics, Adam Kaufman. No offense. But what do they have on offense that's really going to scare you, right? They don't have scores. I mean, Jason Tatum had his 50-point game in that, but that was basically it. No Jaylen Brown. They really slowed to a halt in that series. So I don't think that the Nets were really asked to do too much on that end. And I'm really worried about how good this offense for Milwaukee looked in the first round. I think that they faced a decent team, and they absolutely obliterated them in the Miami Heat. I think that they're destined for great things here. I am rethinking my Sixers to win the East pick, not because of Joel Embiid's injury, but because of how good the Nets looked. I do think the winner of this series, I think, wins the East. So I think, though, there's plenty of value here with the underdog. I think Milwaukee matches up really, really well with Brooklyn. Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be a big problem on defense. And if you can just slow that Brooklyn offense just a little bit, you're going to have a really good shot at winning 4 games.
Nets minus 200 favorites there, Felix. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not going to back the Nets necessarily on the series line because I think there are just better bets. So I've been betting on the Nets essentially to win the East all year long, just here, there, everywhere, and I'm not backing down. They deserve to be favored in this series. Milwaukee, I'll take Kenny's point and even maybe raise him a little bit. This is the NBA Finals for me. I think whoever wins this series should be favored to win it all. Obviously, Brooklyn is favored to win it all as things stand. But, a match with LeBron knocked out, a matchup against a Phoenix, Utah, very good teams. But I think Milwaukee and Brooklyn have the upper hand there. For me, Milwaukee can give up points too. The game 1 total is set at 239.5. This is going to be these are going to be shootouts all series long. I'm sticking with the talent because I think that the big 3 of the Nets is just unlike anything we've seen in terms of three-point shooters, guys that can handle the ball, get to the rim, pass it, everything. So give me the Nets here. You can bet them to win the East. You can bet him to win it all. I would do all those things rather than lay the 200 in the series. If you want to bet specifically for this series, I brought this one up on the Unreasonable Odds podcast yesterday. Over 5.5 games in the series was minus 139. It's moved to minus 152, rightfully so, but that's still a great price. Somebody's going to sweep. Somebody's going to win this 4-1. I don't think so. This is a 6-7 game series, so I'm not really worried about the juice. Give me the over 5.5 games in this series.